Right now at noon, one person is dead after an officer-involved shooting in Fort Atkinson. What events led up to that shooting? Plus, the government shutdown continues with no end in sight. Whether the Trump administration plans to give SNAP a lifeline as the program runs out of funds. This is News 3 Now at noon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Spreiter. Right now, the Wisconsin Department of Justice is investigating after a Fort Atkinson police officer shot and killed a person last night when responding to a call. This happened around 5 o'clock on Washington Street. Officers responded to a home after reports of a disturbance with shots fired. The DOJ says officers surrounded the home and one fired their weapon. First responders flew that person to a hospital in Madison where they died. A rifle not belonging to the officers was found at the scene. The officer involved was wearing a body camera and has been placed on administrative leave, as is protocol. Madison police say a viral social media post claiming a child was sexually assaulted by Whitehorse Middle School staff appears to be inaccurate and potentially harmful. Police say their initial interviews and security camera footage conflict with the statement made in the post. In a news release, the school district says, quote, "These matters are being taken very seriously and a team was immediately pulled together to address the situation," end quote. We're learning more about two home fires just blocks away from each other in Stoughton last night. Dane County Dispatch says a call came in just after 8 for a fire on Truman Road near Scheffelker Park. 4 minutes later, another call came in, this time for a fire on West Main Street near the Har River. As crews responded, Main Street was shut down for a few hours. Stoughton Fire managed to knock out both fires without any reported injuries. Time now for a first check of your forecast. Here's First Warn meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Hi, Jacob.
Hey, Josh. Right now, seeing plenty of sunshine across the area. Here's a live view from Platteville. Barely any clouds in the sky, and that's the case for just about our entire area. Now, temperatures definitely a little bit chilly, but very close to normal for this time of the year. Middle 50s across Dane County. A few areas getting close to the lower 60s. We may see some areas get to that level throughout the afternoon, but for the most part, middle to upper 50s will be the high temperatures. Now, we also are seeing some winds, a little bit breezy for some areas. Not too bad, up around 15 miles per hour for a lot of the region. Certainly noticeable, but we certainly have seen worse when it comes to the winds. Now, throughout the day, sunshine will continue. Again, highs in the middle to upper 50s. Could see some lower 60s, especially for areas to the west of Madison near the Mississippi River. And then during the evening, definitely going to be chilly, but we'll see clear conditions. And really at this point of the year, just about every evening and early morning will certainly be cool, with even the afternoon hours being relatively chilly as we head into November in just a couple of days. Now, overnight, we are going to see a little bit more cloud cover move in, which will help keep low temperatures kind of around 40. Still could drop into the middle 30s for areas to the north of Madison. And then tomorrow, plenty of cloud cover is expected. Temperatures will be similar, and there will be a small chance of rain tomorrow, but only for some areas. I'll talk more about that and show you the Halloween forecast coming up a bit later.
All right, Jacob, we'll see you then. Thank you. Right now, a Category 5 hurricane is barreling toward Jamaica with winds of up to 165 miles per hour. Melissa rapidly intensified over the weekend after ravaging Haiti and the Dominican Republic, where the storm killed at least 4 people. The National Hurricane Center says Melissa's impact on Jamaica will be catastrophic. The hurricane's expected to cause extensive infrastructure damage that will cut off communities. Mandatory evacuation orders are in place for the vulnerable coastal areas. Experts say this will likely be Jamaica's strongest storm on record. It is day 27 of the government shutdown. Congress is under pressure to reopen the government as missed paychecks and benefit lapses take hold. Bradley Blackburn is tracking the latest.
In Woburn, Massachusetts, mail carriers were delivering groceries Saturday to local food pantries. The carrier's twice-yearly food drive is taking on extra urgency, with SNAP benefits set to be frozen on November 1st for 42 million Americans if the government shutdown continues.
Everyone steps up. Everyone's here always to help out and provide.
There are similar scenes at food banks across the country, bracing for a spike in need. In Houston, the Military Family Advisory Network is making free food boxes for military families nationwide affected by the government shutdown and a potential lapse in benefits.
There's a lot of uncertainty there, and so it's really creating this perfect storm for people. The uncertainty around pay, the uncertainty around those benefits.
We were not going to support a partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people.
In Washington, Democrats are standing firm, demanding extensions to health care subsidies. But on Face the Nation Sunday, the Treasury Secretary pushed moderates to end the deadlock.
I would urge moderate Democrats to be heroes, come across the aisle like they did in the spring and pass a clean CR.
On Sunday, one of the nation's busiest airports, LAX, ground to a halt because of staffing problems. The airport was back to normal by the evening, but there could be more turbulence ahead. Air traffic controllers will miss their first full paycheck tomorrow. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
In Wisconsin, an estimated 700,000 people rely on SNAP, known as Food Share. The Department of Health Services says more than 26,000 households in Dane County receive the benefits. 46% of those households include somebody who is disabled, and 32% include children. To sports news we go. The Milwaukee Bucks are back, and for select games this season, you can watch the team for free on over-the-air television. Morgan Murphy Media and WISC TV are once again teaming up with Weigel Broadcasting Company to bring Bucks games to Madison fans. The games will be simulcast on FanDuel Wisconsin and will feature Bucks play-by-play announcer Lisa Byington and lead analyst Marquise Johnson. The first game is on November 15th and will air right here on WISC TV. Other games will air on Television Wisconsin. You can see that full schedule in this article on channel3000.com. Still ahead for us on News 3 Now at noon. If you have a question or concern about your plants or garden, now's the time to send us your questions via email to tips@channel3000.com. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company will join us later in the broadcast with the answers. But first, after the break, what movies came out on top of the weekend box office, plus the recall alert for millions of pounds of frozen, ready-to-eat chicken. We're back with breaking news now at noon. Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin says it will resume abortion care after halting the procedures at its facilities at the beginning of the month. PPWI blamed that halt on the president's One Big Beautiful bill, which gutted the funding for the program. Here's a statement from the organization's CEO that we just received. It reads in part, quote, "At a time when politicians are working to take away health care from women and families, we are fighting back with everything we have. We've been here before. We've stood up to relentless attacks on reproductive health for decades. We are not backing down now. Our patients deserve nothing less," end quote. And now here's Money Watch.
U.S. and China trade negotiators met to hash out a framework over the weekend, with the leaders of the two countries set to meet Thursday. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says President Trump's threatened 100% tariff on Chinese goods is now off the table. Meanwhile, back home, the Trump administration has announced SNAP food assistance funding will be cut off on November 1st if the federal government shutdown continues. Hormel is recalling nearly 5 million pounds of frozen, ready-to-eat chicken products because they could contain pieces of metal. According to a post by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the recall was initiated after multiple complaints from customers at commercial establishments who found metal in their chicken products, which Hormel now says is believed to have come from a conveyor belt used in production. No illnesses or injuries have been reported so far. The USDA is concerned recalled Hormel chicken products could still be in hotel and restaurant freezers. And another big weekend win at the box office for anime. Chainsaw Man, the movie, Reze Arc, took the top spot in North America with more than $17 million. Horror sequel Black Phone 2 was second with an estimated $13 million. And romantic drama Regretting You was third, earning more than $12 million. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Jesse Mitchell.
Here's a look at the stock report at the noon hour. The Dow is up 221 points, NASDAQ up 384, and the S&P 500 up 66. Pam has today's farm numbers up next, and Jacob is tracking the first warn forecast. Then later on Live at 4, what's happening at the Memorial Union Terrace now that the terrace chairs are going away for the winter. Welcome back. Let's check in now with Pam Jahnke for the Midwest Farm Report on a Monday afternoon. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Josh. Yeah, today we're focused in on some of the back and forth conversation between U.S. beef producers and the White House. The latest conversations, President and the administration pushing back a little bit on the complaints from beef producers about the plan to bring in Argentinian beef to help offset high beef costs. Now, the White House saying that beef producers should calm down a little bit because they have a plan. Their plan is to make sure that they're strengthening U.S. cattle production through increased grazing access, endangered species reforms, enhanced disaster relief, more access to capital, and reducing costs for new and young ranchers. That's why they say that U.S. beef producers should settle down a little bit when it comes to their plan to bring in Argentinian beef. So far, it's not calming anybody in the beef industry's fears about that Argentinian beef coming in. Here in Wisconsin, obviously, you led with it earlier, 40 million people across the United States that could see their Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program monies end by the end of this week. Food pantries are trying to prepare for the surge, and the Wisconsin Farmers Union trying to help them prepare for that surge. Last week, the Wisconsin Farmers Union presented the Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin location in Appleton with 35,000 pounds of pork. It's part of a cooperative effort between the National Farmers Union, Wisconsin Farmers Union, and the Farmers Union Enterprise Group, which is basically some businesses the Farmers Union owns and operates that generate money where they can do these kinds of donations. It was part of a 5-state donation. In total, 175,000 pounds of pork that went to 5 different states, including Wisconsin. Darren Von Ruden, president of the Wisconsin Farmers Union, says they recognize that there's probably plenty of potatoes and carrots and onions that are available at those food pantries, but making sure that people are going to have access to high protein, high quality protein is one of their issues. October is Pork Month, and part of the reason why it's Pork Month is this traditionally is when our pork production hits some peaks. So it's a very affordable buy, not only for those donations, but also for the consumers that might want to be filling their freezer. And to the markets now we go. We had seen a surge over the weekend on markets because of some trade agreements that have been ratified between Vietnam, Malaysia, Cambodia, several areas that are obviously good for pork exports as well as other agricultural goods. That continues to carry some steam on the midday. Dairy markets today in Chicago. Barrel cheese is up 2.5 to 179.5. 40-pound block cheese, 2.25 cents higher at 180. AA butter today taking just a quarter of a step back at $1.60 per pound. And obviously, with more conversation in the works, specifically with our relationship with China, Wisconsin farmers keeping an eye on things. The harvest continues, Josh, and with the drier weather that we're looking at least for the most part, I expect those combines to continue to roll.
You know, Pam, I actually spent time in a combine up in Minnesota this weekend. Did a couple of passes around my uncle's field, so it was a lot of fun.
Wow. Well, look at you.
I know.
Going in on my corner of the world, huh?
I'll share some photos with you. You'll have to stay tuned. All right, Pam. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Time now for your certified most accurate forecast with the First Warn meteorologist, Jacob Montesano. Hi, Jacob.
Hey, Josh, here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. We are going to see relatively seasonable temperatures this week, and this time of the year, that means they're, in general, going to remain rather cool. Now, we will see a few showers tomorrow into tomorrow night, but not everyone will see the rainfall, and for the most part, there's not any big rainfalls in the forecast. A lot of small chances, but nothing too extreme. Now, for today, certainly not going to see any rain. Middle to upper 50s for highs, plenty of sunshine, but then we'll see some clouds develop overnight, leading to low temperatures only around 40, so not quite as cool as some of the mornings last week. But as we take a look at that rainfall forecast, this is especially going to be the case for areas west and south of Wisconsin entirely. Now, like I mentioned, clouds developing overnight. The best chance of rain will be in southwest Wisconsin, but even those areas going to have a hard time to see that rain consistently across Wisconsin. A lot of the rain will stay off to the southwest and to the south as we get into Wednesday. And this is mostly going to be Tuesday into Tuesday night. Maybe some lingering precipitation Wednesday morning for some areas. But again, a lot of the region won't see any rain at all. Now, continuing forward throughout the rest of the week will be dry for Wednesday afternoon. Thursday is looking dry. As we get to Halloween, there is a very, very small chance of rain. We'll see sunshine early with some clouds developing closer to trick-or-treating hours. Any rain that does fall will be very, very light, but just be aware there is a very small chance of rain during those trick-or-treating hours with a little bit of a better chance of rain overnight and into Saturday. But I still do not expect to see much in terms of precipitation. Could actually see a little bit of a wintry mix with these with the temperatures dropping Friday night. So to recap the rain chances again, a lot of small chances Tuesday into Tuesday night, small chance, and then a little bit of a small chance Halloween night into Saturday. But all of this will feature relatively dry conditions, and looking specifically at the Halloween forecast, it will drop a little bit in temperatures. We'll have highs near 50, a decent amount of clouds, especially during those trick-or-treating hours, as I mentioned, but the Halloween forecast certainly could be a lot worse. So all things considered, I'm sure many people will take the mostly dry weather. Again, we're still looking at a very small chance of an isolated shower, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see any rain at all, and if we do, it'll be very light. So not too bad in that regards. And notice those temperatures just kind of slowly cooling down, but nothing too dramatic temperature-wise, either above or below normal.
Yeah, I remember some Halloweens where we've had snow on the ground, so you never know.
You don't have to go far back to 2019 when we had 4 inches of snow in Madison on Halloween.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Now let's see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
You know, this is the time of year, as the days get shorter and the weather gets cooler, when it's only natural to crave comfort food. And nothing is more comforting than a pot of homemade soup. But if you're thinking, who has time to make soup? Well, with today's shortcut recipe, you can have a hot and hearty soup on the table in minutes. Let me show you. We started by heating some chicken broth with half and half in a soup pot. Once that comes to a boil, we slowly add in some instant mashed potatoes. That's our shortcut. Then lots of shredded cheddar cheese and a bit of black pepper. We'll let that simmer just long enough for it to thicken up. And if you want, you can hearty this up a bit, maybe adding some frozen peas or broccoli, really whatever veggies you'd like. Talk about easy. Maybe top it off with a pinch of cheese and a few scallions and grab a spoon. Don't just sit there drooling. Go on.
Oh, we lost Howard's audio. Again, you can go to channel3000.com to learn more. Ahead at noon, Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here answering your plant and garden questions. Email them to tips@channel3000.com. We'll get the answers next. Welcome back. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here answering your plant and garden questions. Remember, you can email them to tips@channel3000.com. Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good. What do we have here today?
This is a cyclamen,
Ooh.
and it's a newer variety. It's got the little contrasting minor petals on the outside, and it's a winter bloomer, blooms a long time. It's a nice option for a holiday plant.
I'm getting holiday vibes here.
It is a holiday plant. They like to bloom when it's cooler. They have lots of buds and really pretty heart-shaped foliage with, you know, some kind of silvery pattern.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, let's get to the questions here. We're going to start with our first one here. Is it okay to split dahlia and 4 o'clock bulbs that were just dug up today?
So what you want to do first is let them dry out. And so put them, you know, let the soil dry out. You'll want to sort of clean them up, put them in a flat box, and store them in a dry, dark, airy, cool spot for the winter, checking them every couple of weeks to make sure that they're not molding or drying out. As far as splitting, dahlias are easier to split because as long as you have part of a stem and then some of those tubers attached, you can increase them. I'm not exactly sure about 4 o'clock bulbs, so check with the plant desk. That's plantdesk@brucecompany.com, and we can take a look at them and go forward from there.
All right. Question number 2. Can you cut back Weigela at this time of year, and how much can you cut them back?
So Weigela are a plant that blooms on both old and new growth, meaning that it set a ton of flower buds for next summer already, so that's already on the plant itself. And then they have some sporadic reflowering after that. So if you cut it back now, you are really removing a lot of the flowers for next year. So better to wait until after that initial flush of flowers, then you can cut it back 25, maybe 30%. and then it'll help it to grow back into itself before the winter comes and it goes dormant again.
All right. Question number 3. Is it too late to plant my mum in the garden?
So if it is a garden mum or a perennial mum, if you're going to plant it in the garden, you're going to want to use root stimulator, and you're going to want to be sure that you mulch it. It might be better to put it in, like if you've got a large bucket or some kind of basket, you can set the pots in there and then put mulch around it, and then put that in your garage, as long as it's unheated, or a sheltered spot in your yard, and then plant it in the spring.
All right.
It's getting kind of late to put things in.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's getting cold.
It is getting cold. Except for bulbs. Now is the time to plant your bulbs.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Lisa, thank you so much
You're
for your
welcome.
help today. We appreciate it. And we appreciate you watching News 3 Now at noon. Coming up next is The Bold and the Beautiful. Our next newscast is live at 4. And a reminder, you can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. Make it a great day.